thrilled to be here. This is the biggest and best Clio Con we've ever had. So welcome, whether you're here joining us in person or joining us virtually. Who's pumped for the next couple of days? I certainly am. And what an incredible city to be hosting Clio Con in. This is just a magical place that is full of energy. Austin is well known for being a hotbed of innovation, and I couldn't be more excited to be here. The vibe in the city is just incredible. I even grew a beard to fit in with the locals a little bit better over the course of the next couple of days. And who had a chance to join over the weekend and take in some of ACL? Did anyone take in Austin City Limits? Yeah, that was a nice little bonus, right? If you missed ACL, don't worry. Tonight at our After Dark event, we're going to be right at one of the ACL venues, enjoying some live music and our own private Clio Con version of ACL, which will be pretty cool. Over the weekend, I also got to share an elevator ride with Dua Lipa, which was pretty cool, although I have to admit, someone had to tell me it was Dua Lipa after I got off the elevator. So I'm not quite cool enough. So as I mentioned, this is our biggest and best Clio Con ever. Over 5,000 people at this year's Clio Con, bringing incredible energy to this event that just keeps building momentum year after year. We have 2,600 attendees in the room here, if you can believe it, which is just mind-blowing. And we have over 2,400 people joining us virtually at this year's Clio Con as well. Clio Con has also become a truly global event. If you can believe it, we have attendees from over 42 countries from around the world this year, with people joining us from as far away as Brazil, Norway, Tunisia, and the Philippines. So let's give it up for our international attendees of this year's Clio Con. It's a real honor to have you joining us here. We're also celebrating 12 years of Clio Con this year, which is a pretty incredible moment for me to soak up and appreciate the incredible growth we've seen over the years. Did anyone join us at our very first Clio Con back in 2013? Because there was only 200 of you. So we've grown pretty substantially since that time. We're over 20 times the size we were at our inaugural Clio Con. And it's just a humbling thing to look at how this event has grown over the years. And this event has grown alongside our customer base as well. We've grown to an incredible customer base that now spans over 130 countries around the world, in addition to the explosive growth we've seen here in the US, we've seen incredible growth in our teams around the world now in new markets like UK and Ireland, and most recently, Australia. We're seeing explosive growth in EMEA and APAC more broadly as we see the cloud adoption wave pass through the entire world. I want to start out this keynote thanking all of you for helping facilitate what has been one of the most incredible years in Clio's history. In fact, I would easily call it the most incredible year of our history. And it is thanks to the support that all of you have shown us over our 16-year journey. And I think that support manifests itself most directly here at Clio Con. So please take from me and the entire Clio team a true and profound thank you for the support you've shown us and the way you've helped us grow over the years. I want to emphasize that even 16 years in, when we look at our data and try to understand what is the most important tailwind that is driving our growth, it's word of mouth and referrals and recommendations coming from our existing customers. And that word of mouth, that referral network, those recommendations are so powerful for us and still continue to power our own flywheel of growth at Clio. We've got 200 Clions joining us on the ground over the course of the next 2 days as well, and they will all be doing their best to show our appreciation for all of you over the next 2 days. Let's give it up for this incredible team of Clions that are supporting this incredible conference over the next 2 days. And being picked to come to Clio Con, I've got to tell you, is one of the most coveted roles at Clio. We have over 1,200 employees at Clio now. So getting to be one of those 200 that gets to come on the ground, that gets to engage with our customers and partners and thought leaders at Clio Con is something that is highly contested. And we do an amazing job of bringing the energy of Clio Con back to the team at home because it is a team effort to deliver this event. We've got the 200 folks on the ground, but the 1,200 people back at home have all contributed in a meaningful way to support the event you're about to enjoy over the next 2 days. I want to celebrate what has been an incredible year for Clio, full of a lot of pretty incredible accomplishments. Since we launched in 2008, we've accomplished a lot. We started a movement, we made a lot of connections along the way, and we have some important milestones to celebrate. Today, we proudly partner with over 110 bar associations and law societies from around the world, including all 50 state bar associations here in the US. And this is a real testament to the trust that all of you place in us. The integration ecosystem that we started building at Clio over a decade ago now enjoys over 280 integration partners that help add superpowers to your Clio capabilities. We've got almost 100 of these integration partners on the ground joining us in the exhibit hall right next door here as well, which is just incredible. At Clio, we also believe that the best companies in the world focus on their people, both their customers and their employees. And we have a couple of tremendous milestones to celebrate on that front. This year, we were chosen as one of the Forbes Cloud 100 companies, which are the 100 most important and significant cloud companies in the world. We were also selected, thank you. We were also selected as one of Deloitte's best managed companies, which is something we should all feel really proud of, and hopefully all of you take comfort in trusting your data with a company that's been selected as one of the best managed companies in the world. We were incredibly excited last month to celebrate what is a particularly Canadian achievement, which is announcing a partnership with our hometown hockey team in Vancouver as well, the Vancouver Canucks. And this is, yeah, I'm glad to hear we've got some hockey fans in the house. And this is a bragging right even Ryan Reynolds can't claim. So we're pretty proud of this, this partnership. And perhaps most significant of all, one of the milestones that we achieved over the last 16 years, we announced just this past July, which was the most significant investment round in a legal tech company ever, with a $900 million investment round at a $3 billion valuation, which is just an incredible milestone that, again, is huge thanks to the support you've shown us over the years. And in terms of a moment that I won't soon forget, seeing Clio's logo up in the New York Times NASDAQ billboard is something that will live with me forever. Pretty incredible, and a moment that the entire team really soaked up. Thank you. Something I couldn't have dreamed of in my wildest dreams back in 2008 when Ryan and I thought Clio might become a 10-person company at max. So pretty incredible 16 years. So this has been a huge year for Clio. And we're heading into this year's Clio Con with a huge amount of momentum. And we need it because we have an ambitious mission at Clio. That mission is to transform the legal experience for all. And that is a deliberately audacious, inclusive, and ambitious mission. And it's about redefining how we deliver legal services And Clio Con is our annual summit to bring all of you together with so much of our team and co-create what that future can look like. In past years, I've called Clio Con a movement. And that's more relevant this year than ever with this year's theme, which is harness your momentum. We chose this theme because momentum is the driving force that turns short bursts of energy into sustained success. Every law firm has energy, whether it's your people, your ideas, or your goals. But energy alone isn't enough. To really take your firm to the next level, what you need is momentum, a force that keeps you moving forward faster, with less friction, and more impact that builds over time. I was first introduced to this concept of a flywheel and how it can build momentum in Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. Who's read this book, by the way? There's a lot of hands. I'm glad to see that. This is still, to this day, one of the best business books ever written. And when Jim looked at the success of some of the best performing companies in the world, like Amazon, he discovered that there was a common thread across many of these companies, and it was the fact that they invested in a flywheel. And a flywheel is significant in that it doesn't start spinning on its own. It takes effort to get it going. It takes momentum, it gains momentum over time, making it easier to maintain that speed. And this self-reinforcing growth, this perpetual motion machine, is something that every law firm should strive to build. As you focus on building your own flywheel, consider how and where you're adding energy to it. And this is something we're going to be calling back to consistently over the course of the next 2 days, thinking about how you can build momentum in your law firm's flywheel. Let's think of some ways you can build energy in your flywheel, how you can add energy and reduce friction in your law firm. Maybe you hired a great legal assistant. Maybe you started offering more flexible payment options to your clients. Maybe you added an intake form to your website so clients don't need to phone you and you don't need to answer a phone call. Or maybe you began actively asking for reviews to elevate your online reputation and keep that flywheel going. These are all ways we can deliberately start building momentum in our firm, with the important feature that when you go to bed at night or you go on a vacation, that flywheel keeps spinning. Now let's think about the flip side. If you're not actively taking steps to add energy to your flywheel or reduce friction in your flywheel, it's eventually going to slow down and stop over time. So we're going to talk about both of these concepts over the course of this keynote and over the course of the next 2 days, which is how do you keep adding new energy to your flywheel, and how do you do everything you can to eliminate friction in your flywheel so that you keep building that momentum. I want to highlight how important this is. In our research that we've shown consistently in the Legal Trends Report, we found that lawyers spend between 2 and 5 hours a week just gathering and summarizing information from different sources. We also discovered that for many legal professionals, the first hour of every day often just goes to figuring out what needs attention. All that time spent on non-billable tasks isn't just frustrating, it's directly impacting your firm's revenue. And this is not a new problem. It's been going on for years. As I mentioned earlier, for 9 years now, the Legal Trends Report has highlighted the fact that lawyers simply aren't spending enough time on productive, client-facing, billable work. On average, lawyers are only billing 3 hours a day, which is an improvement, by the way. This is a 32% improvement since we did our first Legal Trends Report in 2019. But that still leaves 5 hours a day lost to administrative tasks, busy work, a lot of time we can't directly account for, and time we might describe as being lost to friction in our flywheel. So the real question is, how do we fix this? And a mindset I want to ask all of you to adopt over the course of the next 2 days is a momentum mindset. Attend every session over the course of the next 2 days, thinking about how you can take a little piece of that session home with you and make small strategic changes to your practice that reduce friction and build momentum over time. What we'll hear from James Clear tomorrow, the author of Atomic Habits, is this idea of the aggregation of marginal gains. This idea that if you make a 1% improvement every day, you're going to see outsized and compounding impacts over the long term. In fact, if you make these 1% improvements every day over the course of a year, you will be 37 times better at the end of the year than you were at the start. That's just incredible progress. If we embrace this momentum mindset, think about how we deploy these incremental changes, we will be able to leave Clio Con in 2 days with actionable takeaways that we can implement in our law firm starting on Wednesday, maybe even while you're still here at the conference. I think it's important to emphasize, and it hopefully almost goes without saying, is that we at Clio believe that technology plays a profound role in thinking about how we build a high momentum flywheel in our law firms. Technology has the opportunity to both add energy to your flywheel as well as to reduce friction in your flywheel. And we think this is a crucial mindset to apply to the next 2 days as well. Think about mindset, think about practices, and think about technology in a way that you can keep moving your flywheel forward. Think about, for example, a better workflow that might be able to save you 15 minutes on client intake. That 15 minutes is something you're going to be able to save on every single client intake you do, and it will compound over time. You might think of a way of automating a task that might make your team 20% more efficient every time they perform that task. And again, that's a gain that's going to compound and pay off over and over and over again in your law firm. These small, consistent improvements start to compound. They propel your law firm's flywheel, and they'll make every gain accelerate the last and keep building that momentum in your flywheel. We believe the key to achieving true momentum in your law firm lies in everything and everyone in your firm being connected. When you think about it, your law firm is made up of many moving parts. Your team, your clients, your processes. And when these parts are disconnected, friction builds over time. That friction slows down your law firm's progress, holding back the momentum you could be building. But when your law firm is fully connected, when information flows seamlessly between your people, your processes, and your purpose, friction is reduced, and that's when the flywheel really starts going. That's how you move faster, more efficiently, and with greater impact. This is the essence of momentum, making incremental gains that build on each other, creating lasting and scalable growth. Now, I want to talk about how our product vision at Clio centers on the idea of creating a connected law firm through sophisticated but still very easy to use technology. What we're building at Clio is a unified platform that serves as your single source of truth in your law firm, centralizing your data to enhance accessibility, to enhance insight, and to enhance actionability. We've made really significant strides over the course of the last few years in realizing this vision by actively listening to your feedback and understanding the challenges you face and how Clio can help you overcome those. We're also seeing client demands evolve significantly over time, and we're helping you eliminate the friction points that might exist in your law firm, again, to help you build momentum. And as we build momentum in our product velocity, we're helping accelerate your own flywheels to help you grow your law firm. I want to highlight some of the ways our product has evolved so significantly over the course of the last 5 years. And again, all of this evolution is a function of better understanding how we can comprehensively solve the problems that you are facing in your law firm and help you grow and help you execute. It's hard to believe, but back in 2019, Clio was a single product company. We didn't talk about Clio Manage as a standalone product. Clio Manage was Clio. That's all there was. And now, just 5 years later, we've expanded to a really expansive suite of connected products, a unified platform that can help your law firm grow. Let's walk through what that growth has looked like. We began by expanding the power of our flagship Clio Manage product by building a set of interconnected technologies that can be leveraged to make your law firm significantly more productive. A suite that can grow with you as your firm scales and as your needs evolve. Let's walk through that evolution that started with Clio Grow back in 2019. We identified with Clio Grow an opportunity to improve client intake, which was at the time a cumbersome process that disrupted the flow of legal work. Clio Grow was designed to streamline and simplify how law firms onboard new clients, reducing friction and improving efficiency at a critical stage of the client journey, which is the intake process. Since then, Clio Grow has facilitated the intake of almost 15 million clients, becoming the go-to solution for any law firm that is looking to grow. And what began as an intake solution has since transformed into a comprehensive lead management tool equipped with marketing capabilities that help you attract new clients. With Clio Grow, we're making sure that no prospects are ever overlooked, and we've laced in a number of automation features that enable you to be super responsive to new leads as they come to your firm. So we're so excited with the progress we've seen with Clio Grow over the course of the last 5 years. Next, we shifted our focus to modernizing legal payments with Clio Payments in 2021. What we recognized at the time was outdated payment technologies were creating a huge amount of friction between attorneys and clients in the payment process. And we saw an opportunity to directly integrate this into our platform, eliminating friction and creating a great client experience. Since 2021, we've seen over 20,000 law firms enable Clio Payments to manage their transactions. And since launching Clio Payments just 3 years ago, we've seen over $10 billion of processing volume flow through Clio Payments. So pretty incredible growth in the number of law firms that are looking to online payments as a way of receiving payments. And importantly, a way of dramatically accelerating the pace of payments as well. We see that law firms report receiving payments 4 times faster when they're using Clio Payments, which with an impressive 25% of bills being paid on the same day that they're issued. I want to highlight just how fast this win of enabling Clio Payments can be with a recording from one of our onboarding specialists. And the client in this call gave us permission to share this audio clip because I think it's such a great embodiment of how quick people can see value with Clio Payments. Let's listen to Marilyn's experience onboarding.
So I can check the system and confirm. And then Clio Manage, she just paid it online.
Oh, she did? Nice.
Yeah, she just texted me paid. I'm so excited first.
That was so amazingly fast, right?
So I just want to emphasize what happened in this call. Marilyn was onboarding to Clio Payments, had literally just turned Clio Payments on, finished the onboarding process, and sent a test bill out to her client. And literally seconds after she sent that bill in the onboarding call, the client paid that bill online, which clearly made Marilyn's day. So pretty incredible and quick wins with Clio Payments. Now, we next turned our attention to accounting. And I hear some laughs of maybe empathy in the crowd here, because accounting is something we heard consistently from our set of legal professionals, that they just hate accounting. For many of you, it's the least favorite part of your job. But it's also the most important part of your job. We realized that you needed a better system than the outdated and disconnected systems you were using previously. And we decided to reinvent what accounting looks like for legal professionals with Clio Accounting, and make a process that was previously filled with a ton of friction and make that painless. With Clio Accounting, you can now log transactions, automate three-way reconciliations, and generate critical legal reports with ease, all while ensuring your financial data is accurate, compliant, and up to date. Because accounting sits perfectly next to payments in Clio Manage, you end up with real-time visibility into every aspect of your firm's finances, from time tracking and billing to collections and trust accounting. With Clio Accounting, you have full control and transparency. Your finances are no longer a black box only accessible to your accountant. Clio Accounting just launched a couple of months ago in July, but I'm so proud to share that it's been one of the most successful product launches we've ever had at Clio, now with over 1,000 firms using Clio Accounting on a daily basis. And I think this is a great way of underscoring the need that exists in the industry for easier to use financial solutions. Do we have any customers of Clio Accounting in the room that are seeing good experiences with it? Okay, we'll go see the product lab. There is a huge opportunity to get up and running very quickly on Clio Accounting. Now, building on the foundation of our unified platform, last year we deepened our commitment to addressing the unique needs of differing practice areas and firm sizes. We continued to pull on this thread of how we could eliminate friction in your world, and saw that a huge opportunity existed in interfacing with the courts. To simplify your interactions with the courts, we've made 3 key investments over the course of the last few years. First, we improved your ability to manage court deadlines with calendar rules, which keeps your calendar up to date and reliably reminds you of critical deadlines, which can often be a huge amount of overhead to stay on top of. Our database currently contains more than 35,000 rules and calculates an average of 30 million deadlines for our customers. And we're adding hundreds of new courts every year. Next, we elevated document and court form automation capabilities through Clio Draft. Since we acquired LawYaw in 2021, you've used Clio Draft to generate more than 10 million documents. And the results of that have been truly remarkable. We've heard customers tell us they've been able to take their drafting times down to 10 to 20 minutes per page, down to 30 seconds per page while using Clio Draft. And most recently, we rounded out these capabilities with the addition of e-filing in Clio Manage. You can now electronically file documents directly with the courts right within the practice management system you use every day, which is an industry first. Now, when it's time to file, you can use Clio File to instantly e-file documents directly from Clio Manage, which helps you save at least 50% of your time, while also dramatically reducing the risk that you have errors in your filing. As we've continued to evolve our product suite, we've delved deep into the requirements of specific practice areas as well. We've identified a number of practice areas that we feel are underserved by existing technologies, and turned first to personal injury as an area that we saw a huge opportunity to help reduce friction and streamline operations. Since we've launched our personal injury add-on for Clio, we've seen over 1,100 firms take advantage of ways of better centralizing their work and reducing friction in their day. And all of these investments have led us to where we are today, building a powerful, unified platform where Clio Manage acts as a central intelligence hub, enabling you to light up new extensions of its capabilities as your needs evolve at your law firm. And together, this platform works to change where you spend your time. As I mentioned, the incremental gains of time that these tools offer are little wins that help you accelerate your flywheel and build momentum in your law firm. So that takes us today, and we're entering a new frontier, the one that I know is on everyone's mind in this room, and that's artificial intelligence. And we've got a lot of exciting news to share with you on this front. But I want to first start with talking about some of the predictions that I made a year ago on stage here at Clio Con about some of the ways we would see AI impact the legal profession. There are two things that stand out to me thinking back to last year's keynote. One was that a statement I made that AI will help us deliver better legal outcomes to more clients, and that it will also improve the livelihood of legal professionals delivering those services. A second prediction I made is that lawyers that leverage AI will replace those that don't. Again, our very clear view at Clio is we do not see AI as something that will replace lawyers, but lawyers that embrace AI will replace those that do not. So as usual at Clio, we looked at the data to see how well these predictions trended. So let's see first how legal adoption has trended, how AI adoption has trended in legal. So last year, we reported that 19% of law firms were exploring or using AI-powered tools. And when we look to this year, how has that changed and evolved? Well, today, just 1 year later, that number has skyrocketed to 79%, which is just incredible. We already see a large majority of law firms embracing AI tools in a meaningful way. Another trend that we predicted was that AI tools would evolve from being standalone point solutions focused on a very concrete but narrow set of needs, and that we would instead start to see AI tools integrated into the tools and products we use on a day-to-day basis. And this is also something we've seen a huge amount of progress on in the last year. Take, for example, Google's Gemini AI, which is now integrated into Google's latest Pixel phones. Gemini allows for voice interactions and has incredible on-device photo editing capabilities, which we could have only dreamed of a couple of years ago. The amount of progress just in a couple of years has been incredible. Similarly, over the course of this month, Apple Intelligence is going to be rolling out to Apple's iPhones, and it again is going to enable incredible on-device capabilities like live photo editing and an intelligent agent that can remind us of what critical upcoming meetings we have, and even act on our behalf for certain kinds of actions. This migration to AI from the cloud to being on device is a really exciting trend. AI features are also increasingly present in the email products we use on a daily basis, whether that's Gmail or Outlook. And it's moving from not just suggesting the next word in an email reply, but helping us draft complex email replies that are based on a much broader context in our business. Another great example of AI becoming embedded in our lives is with self-driving cars, something that we felt was so far away not long ago. But on a past trip last week that I had to San Francisco, I had a chance to ride in one of these Waymo Uber-type vehicles. Has anyone ridden in a Waymo yet? I see a few hands in the room. So this is a pretty wild experience. For the first 10 minutes of this experience, I couldn't get over seeing the fact that the steering wheel was moving on its own. And not only that, but the car was moving confidently and correctly. And this is something I can't say about my Tesla's self-driving capabilities, but the Waymo was very, very impressive. But maybe what is more impressive, and I think this is a great metaphor for how we're going to see technology and AI start to seep into our daily lives, is what was remarkable for the first 20 minutes became something I was becoming bored of within about half an hour. I started trusting this completely intelligent driver, this driverless Waymo vehicle, and started looking at my Slacks and my email, and all of a sudden forgot the fact that I had an artificial intelligence driving me around San Francisco. And I think this Waymo vehicle is a great metaphor for how we're going to see AI embedded in legal. When we think about what this Waymo car is, it's incredible. It's an augmented vehicle that is better than the vehicles we drive on a daily basis. It has a LiDAR radar sitting on its roof that can see in the dark. It can measure distances down to millimeter accuracy, hundreds of meters away. It's an incredible vehicle that is augmented with 20 million hours of training data in driving time. This is the equivalent of 30 human lifetimes of driving full-time every day that is being integrated into this car. So this isn't a car with a learner's license. This is a car with the intelligence and benefit of the equivalent of 30 years of full-time training driving a car around. And sooner rather than later, we're going to start treating this same kind of technology being embedded in our law firms and the way we operate our law firms for granted. I also want to walk through the Gartner hype cycle, which I'm sure is a framework many of you have experienced or been familiarized with over the course of the years. But it's a great way of orienting ourselves in terms of where we are in this broader AI adoption cycle. If we think about the first phase of this cycle, we see the innovation trigger. And this is when a new technology comes on the market and changes everything. And this is exactly what we saw with ChatGPT when it was released in November of 2022. Sometimes it's hard to remember the fact that all of this started less than 2 years ago. But it was ChatGPT coming out in November of 22 that catalyzed a huge adoption cycle. We saw the early adopters come on board. We saw usage of ChatGPT explode to 100 million active users. And this explosive growth rapidly led us to what is sometimes called the peak of inflated expectations. This is where we hear prognostications that everything is going to change super rapidly. We start seeing headlines that feel like they might be taken to the extreme. We started hearing warnings that AI was going to replace all sorts of human labor inside of the next year. But as more users hopped on board and started actually using AI, we entered this cycle that's called the trough of disillusionment. And what we all realize in the trough of disillusionment is that maybe these technologies are not quite fully baked. Maybe they don't operate in exactly the way we think. AI started making headlines for all the wrong reasons. We had Google's AI telling us we should eat rocks for their nutritional value. We had our friend in Manhattan that I'm sure we've all heard of many times, but poor Stephen Schwartz, who used ChatGPT to help him write a brief. And ChatGPT hallucinated the 5 cases it cited in the brief. Those cases did not exist. And Stephen found out the hard way when the judge and opposing counsel told him the cases didn't exist. And the challenge we see here is that the mental model we need to use for these technologies is completely different than the mental model we might have used for Google or Wikipedia in the past. We're not used to technologies that lie to us. I've heard many people talk about AI that you should treat it as a junior associate that needs to be supervised. But I think the truth is actually much more pernicious than that. It's a junior associate that will lie pathologically. And it's a junior associate that will lie pathologically without even knowing they're lying. Perhaps the most dangerous thing we've done over the course of the last couple of years is think that there's any level of morality in AI. AI doesn't know if something is true or false. It doesn't care whether it's true or false. It's just trying to give you the thing that is statistically most likely. And this is something we learned the hard way when we were told to eat rocks, we were told to put glue on our pizza, and we were told to cite cases that didn't exist. Now, all is not lost. I think the phase we are at now in the AI adoption cycle is that we're starting to emerge into the slope of enlightenment. We've learned about some of the limitations of AI, and we're starting to see accelerating progress in how good these models are. I want to remind everyone how incredible the progress we've seen in AI over the course of not just the last 2 years, but over the last 5 years has been. Just a few years ago, with ChatGPT-2, we had AIs that basically operated at the level of a preschooler. With GPT-3, we saw an elementary-aged kid. With ChatGPT 3.5, which is what we saw come out in November of 2022, this is when everything changed and we realized that this was starting to become a useful, although imperfect tool. With GPT-4, we have essentially a smart high schooler that can do some pretty amazing things. But what we are completely unequipped to handle as human beings is the idea of exponential progress. I want to highlight that the y-axis here is a log scale. What we're seeing is order of magnitude improvements in what these AIs can do every couple of years. And this is something that the human brain, unfortunately, is not great at wrapping its head around. This exponential progress that by the year 2027 or so, we're going to have AIs that have the capabilities of an advanced graduate student. It's going to have the capabilities of a very, very smart human being. And what happens after 2027? We see another order of magnitude increase, and we have AIs that are smarter than the smartest human being on the planet. And that's when everything will change. Even with GPT-4, we've seen huge leaps over what GPT 3.5 was able to do. We were able to move from an AI that performed at a really mediocre level on a number of standardized tests to an AI that was able to score often in the 90th percentile or better on a number of standardized tests. This included, perhaps terrifyingly for lawyers, passing the LSAT. And again, not just with a mediocre score, but with a 90th percentile level score. What's really exciting is that the next phase of AI development is already here. Just in the last month, we saw OpenAI release their O1 model. And what's really interesting about O1, which was codenamed Strawberry, is the fact that it's from a completely different lineage of large language models than the GPT lineage. This is a new way of thinking about AI. It's a new model where they're moving compute into the reasoning and response part of a query. And when you interact with O1, it's interesting because it's like dealing with a human being, or at least some human beings, in that it thinks really carefully before it responds to your query. And the quality of those responses are incredibly strong. You'll see the complexity that you can ask O1 of a query, and you will be blown away by the quality of the response. But most importantly, this is no longer a black box. This is an AI that can explain the chain of thought and the reasoning that it is applying to answer your questions, which is a huge leap over what we saw with previous models. So as we see these models continue to mature and we continue to see this exponential progress in what AI can deliver, we're going to enter this plateau of productivity. Although I don't think it's going to be a plateau as we see in the typical Gartner hype cycle, we're going to see more of an exponential curve on what this looks like. So it's an exciting time, and the possibility of what lies ahead is truly amazing. And I think what we're going to see with AI is summed up really nicely with this quote from Roy Amara. And this is known as Amara's Law. And we've seen this over and over in the technology cycle. And it's that we overestimate the impact of technologies in the short term, but we underestimate the impact of technologies in the long term. Maybe a great and fairly recent example of this was with the internet, and one company in particular, which is Amazon.com. We saw in the late 1990s, Amazon stock value explode as everyone was excited about the internet changing everything, and Amazon completely revolutionizing how book sales worked. Let's not forget, back then, that was all Amazon really did. When the dot-com bust happened, Amazon stock cratered. They almost went out of business. They were saved only by the fact that they sold a bunch of bonds to overseas investors, but they survived. And cut to 20 years later, in the year 2024, the internet broadly, and Amazon in particular, has had a more profound impact on business than we could have ever imagined. Amazon has transformed e-commerce in a way that is more profound than we could have ever imagined in the year 2000. And I think it's a great example of technology hype being overstating the impact of a company or a technology in the short term, but ultimately in the long term, we really underestimated what the impact of Amazon would have over the long term. So now let's shift our attention to the legal industry and how AI is impacting the legal industry at large. And then we're going to talk about what we're doing at Clio in particular to leverage the opportunity that AI presents. And one thing I want to start this section of the keynote highlighting that is super exciting, I think, for me and for everyone in this room, I hope, is that legal is leading the way in adopting AI. And this is something we have never seen in any other technology adoption cycle, is legal leading the way. Lawyers have a reputation for being risk-averse and slow to adopt technology. I personally don't think that reputation is well-deserved, by the way. I think in many cases we saw not great technologies being foisted on lawyers. But what we saw with a cloud adoption cycle, for example, is an adoption cycle of over a decade to get to 75+% adoption. And this is data that we see thanks to the ABA Legal Technology Survey. So you can see that cloud saw widespread adoption. I'm proud to say that Clio was a big driver of getting this adoption cycle for the cloud in Clio when we launched in 2008. But I want to show you how this cloud adoption cycle compares to the AI adoption cycle we've seen in legal. And that's what looks like basically a vertical line over the course of the last 2 years. We've seen adoption that took over a decade to happen in the cloud happen with AI in less than a year. And I think this is incredible for a few reasons. One is that legal is outpacing other industries in adopting AI. We see a report from McKinsey and Company that shows that industry at large is adopting AI at about a level of 72%. And again, in legal, we're at 79%. So we're outpacing industry at large in adopting AI. And I think what this highlights better than any other statistic I've seen on AI adoption in legal is that we are witnessing truly a seismic change in how legal professionals are approaching their work. And what I've seen that's especially remarkable is that lawyers are pulling AI into their firm. This is not a technology that needs to be pushed into law firms by technology vendors. This is something where lawyers, I think, instinctively realize the value of AI and they're pulling it into their firms. Whether it's document drafting or client communications or legal research, I think we've seen lawyers realize the value of AI in a really concrete way. And this just further reaffirms the statement we made last year that I think has now rapidly, in less than a year, become conventional wisdom, which is if you don't embrace AI, you are at a fundamental competitive disadvantage and you will lose. people realize that the stakes are basically existential, and that embracing AI and integrating it into our daily workflows is not a nice to have. This has rapidly become table stakes in an adoption cycle that I've personally not seen in my professional career. I want to highlight, I think, what is a great example of how impactful AI can be to people's workflows, and a quantitative study showing exactly how impactful AI can be. Harvard Business School partnered with Boston Consulting Group to do a study understanding how AI could augment the work that its consultants were doing. And this is complex work that you pay consultants hundreds of thousands of dollars to do. This is doing things like writing complex research reports, writing memos for clients, making product recommendations. And what they did is they did an at-scale study with 758 consultants that were split into one group that used AI and another group that was essentially the control group that was not allowed to use AI in their workflows. What we saw in the results here are pretty incredible. The AI-assisted consultants completed 12% more tasks. They completed those tasks on average 25% faster than the control group. And this is what I think is the most remarkable result, is they delivered work that was objectively assessed to be 40% higher in quality than the control group. Better, smarter, faster. And that's an incredible gain with just, by the way, plain vanilla AI. This was GPT-4 directly from OpenAI with no modifications, no RAG, no special fine-tuning for the consulting practice. This was off-the-shelf AI, and some pretty remarkable results that they were able to realize immediately. And when we talk about the impact of AI, think about the impact this can have on your practice. But I also want to acknowledge the tension that exists here. This is not an easy transformation to go through. On one hand, we have opportunity, but on the other, we see a huge amount of disruption that's happening. And some anxiety around that is normal. We're seeing the work we used to feel comfortable doing become automated. And in some cases, automated with an AI that can do a better job than we ever could. Last year, Goldman Sachs released a study that shocked a lot of legal professionals, where they showed that 44% of work tasks in the legal industry could be automated by AI. The study also projected that up to 40% of legal industry jobs could be replaced by automation. So these are staggering and also terrifying numbers for anyone that works in the legal industry. At Clio, we looked at the way Goldman Sachs did their work and realized that we had, through our legal trends report research, an opportunity to really unpack and go an additional level of layer of detail into this analysis around which tasks are actually automatable by AI. What I'm about to highlight in just a few minutes is something that Joshua Lennon will go through in much more detail in his session later this afternoon, which I encourage you to attend, and that are more fully detailed in this year's Legal Trends Report, which is available for download this morning. But what our research showed is that AI could automate nearly 3/4 of hourly billable work in law firms. And when we further break down where that automation is likely to happen, we found that 81% of hourly work performed by legal secretaries and administrative assistants has the potential for automation, compared to 57% of work done by lawyers. And this disparity is related to the different nature of work that is happening across these personas. We can see in terms of where the opportunity for automation exists, it's unsurprising what the biggest opportunities are. These are around documents and analyzing large amounts of information. When we look at the financial impact of this automation, this translates to an average of $36,000 in revenue per lawyer that is associated with these tasks that are at risk of automation. And if we assume that 75% of those tasks can actually be automated, This translates to $27,000 of annual revenue that is at risk for every lawyer that continues to bill by the billable hour. And when you consider that 80% of law firm revenue still comes from hourly billing, this is pretty scary. And it's made even more terrifying by the ABA's recent formal ethics opinion 512. And what 512 tells us is that even if we generate time savings through AI and automation, we cannot pass those time savings in the form of billable time onto our clients. And this puts us in a really tough situation because it basically says the benefits of AI cannot accrue to the law firm. You investing in AI and in automating workflows are not something you can pass on to your client if you're using the billable hour model. So hopefully, I don't mean hopefully, but this data might be triggering a bit of a fear response in everyone in the room. It certainly did for me in the first time I synthesized this data, thinking about what does all of this mean. Our natural response as human beings is to think, how can I preserve the status quo? How can I try to avoid this change? Can I just look the other way for a couple of years and this is all going to pass me by? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. We need to go back to the momentum mindset I was describing earlier and think about how this can actually unlock new opportunities for us. I think about AI as presenting us the opportunity to focus our time on the highest and best use of our time, and we should be embracing the fact that this presents an opportunity for these outdated billing models to fade in the past and for us to completely reframe how we're delivering legal services to our clients. For years now, there's been a growing disconnect between the billable hour and the value that lawyers are creating. And that's only accelerating with AI. And by the way, I don't think this means the billable hour is completely gone forever, but I think AI is finally highlighting the long overdue tension that exists between the value we are delivering as legal professionals and the hourly billing model and its ability to capture that value. And it may be the final and long overdue nail in the coffin for the billable hour. Another data point we see from this year's Legal Trends Report that's fascinating is that firms that are more invested in leveraging AI are already rewriting the playbook on how they do billing. 20% of AI-driven firms have already made the leap to exclusive flat fee billing. And this push for flat fee billing is not just something that we should be thinking about as we embrace AI in our law firms. It's something that clients very clearly prefer. 71% of clients in our LTR research tell us this is their preferred billing modality. So when we talk about your flywheel, AI is a huge opportunity to automate tasks, streamline your operations, and leverage the core strengths you have in your firm. It's a great way for you to reframe where you're investing your time, and again, focus on the highest and best use of your time, which is often going to be connecting at a human level with your clients, understanding their problems and understanding how you can better solve them. Although AI is disrupting our world in a rapid basis, the people in this room, the people at Clio Con, are here to think about how we construct a new world, a more impactful world, a new, more effective way of working. And I'm so excited about that impact that's going to have. And this is something that is not just going to be better for your bottom line. This is something that we've talked about every single year at Clio, and it's the access to justice problem. And the fact that we think there's a huge opportunity for technology to reduce the friction in accessing to justice. One of the more recent stats on this problem is that 55 million Americans face 260 million legal problems. And those legal problems are largely unresolved. 120 million of those remain unresolved, meaning nearly half are left unresolved without any form of closure. And when people encounter these legal problems, they're not turning to a lawyer. Our data is showing that 31% seek advice online, 40% turn to friends or family, and only 29% turn to a lawyer for help. The reality is that most legal demand is starting with a Google search. And we need to figure out how we can reorient our technologies and our investment to better reduce friction. When I think about the access to justice problem, and I think about the opportunity that exists in pursuing this latent legal market, it's all about reducing friction in connecting clients that have problems and the legal professionals that can help solve those problems. If we can do a great job of relentlessly reducing the friction that exists in that process, we will solve the access to justice problem, or we'll at least make meaningful progress on it. As I mentioned at the outset of the keynote, we are relentlessly pursuing this vision of a unified platform at Clio that helps you do this. And we're not just adding AI as a separate tool, we're embedding AI into the tools you use on a daily basis. Last year, I told you about what our vision for AI looked like on stage here at Clio Con, and that vision is Clio Duo. Today, I'm really excited to announce that we're launching Clio Duo in Clio Manage, and we're releasing a more expansive and exciting vision for what Clio Duo can do to accelerate your law firm, to amplify your flywheel, and to reduce friction in your day-to-day tasks. So let me walk through what Clio Duo is. You can think of Clio Duo as your AI-powered legal partner. This partner will enable you to work even more efficiently and effectively in Clio, increasing your momentum by both amplifying your impact and reducing friction. Let's walk through some of the ways Clio Duo comes to life. Imagine being able to prioritize your work with smart recommendations, to instantly respond to clients with intelligent, context-aware messages, to summarize matters, notes, and client details in seconds, to instantly analyze large, complex documents, or to have your entire week planned for you just with a couple of clicks. That's just a glimpse of what Clio can do for you. It's not just an upgrade, it's a complete transformation of how you work. Now, I'd like to do something that's kind of risky, but who would love to see a live demo of Clio Duo? Yeah? Okay. All right. A live demo at a keynote. What could go wrong? Okay, so let's orient ourselves in Clio Manage and what Clio Manage looks like when Clio Duo has been added to your account. First of all, we've completely redesigned Clio Manage to highlight the intelligence that Clio Duo is able to surface for you. I talked about the beginning of your day being something that might confuse you or that you spend a lot of time on. You might spend a few hours trying to figure out where you should spend your priorities, what matter most. What Clio Duo is able to do is look at my entire week and tell me right off the bat what is most important. It's able to analyze my calendar, it's able to analyze deadlines that exist in matters, and surface which matters I should be paying attention to and putting my energy into. When I open up my laptop first thing on a Monday morning, I can ask Clio Duo, what is my week like? Another thing I'll highlight is that Clio Duo, some of you might remember when we were showing the prototypes for Clio Duo last year, we had Clio Duo as a sidebar. What we realized is that we can actually integrate the Clio Duo experience seamlessly into your search bar in Clio and have Duo at your fingertips throughout the day. We've even elevated Clio Duo to be a button next to the search bar that allows you to quickly activate a Clio Duo search. So let's show you what happens when I ask Clio Duo what my week looks like. I'll give it a few seconds, and it gives me a quick overview of where I'll be spending my time, which calendar entries are happening, and where I should be spending my attention. Let's next go to the Martinez matter, a divorce I'm working on with my client Maria. And I want to highlight a few other areas that Clio Duo has been surfaced and elevated in the interface. We now have a new Clio Duo tile on our dashboard that tells us what has recently changed in the matter. I'm able to see that there's some unbilled activities, and Clio Duo can help me generating a bill for that client. Let's next go to getting ready for my meeting with Maria. So I'm going to be meeting with Maria later this afternoon, and I want Clio Duo to catch me up on what's happened on this matter. So Clio Duo will understand that the context I'm working on is this Maria Martinez matter, and I can just ask Clio Duo to catch me up since last Thursday. This is the last time that I chatted with Maria, and I want to get just a quick update on what's happened in this matter. And again, in a few seconds, Clio Duo is able to come back to me and tell me the tasks, the calendar entries, the communications that have happened with this client. And again, this is an assistant that is embedded into my day-to-day workflows and able to help me in a really dramatic and meaningful way. Let's next show how the document experience has evolved with Clio Duo being integrated. We have a marital settlement agreement that is ready for my review, and I'm going to jump into the redesigned document interface and see this document. Again, in a few seconds, I'll get a preview of the document presented to me within Clio Manage. But this Clio Duo summary tab is an integrated AI-generated summary of this document, where instead of reading through pages and pages of this MSA, I can get a quick paragraph summary of what is happening in this document. If I decide this summary is still too long and I want it even more condensed, I can actually ask Clio Duo to summarize it, to shorten that summary and get it down to just a couple of paragraphs. Another very cool capability in Clio Duo is the ability to create direct actions within Clio Duo as well. So when I'm looking at this MSA, I might want to ask my associate to review this document in more detail. I've given it a quick glimpse. The summary looks correct to me, but I want to ask my colleague Steven to review this. Now again, I could normally do this by going to the tasks interface and creating a new task and attaching a document, but what I have in Clio Duo now is this really cool capability to create direct actions. So let's say create, and then I'll get a prompt here. Do I want to create a time entry, an expense, a task, or an event? In this case, I want to create a task for Steven, I'll say, to review this document by, let's say, Wednesday. And again, Clio Duo is going to go away, parse this, and create a new task for me that is assigned to Stephen Carter. And this workflow highlights something that is a really key concept for us at Clio, which is we want AI to be observable and modifiable by you. We don't want a black box that is just magic in the background creating things for you. We want the AI to come back and tell you what it's going to do for you. And in this case, it's told us it's created this task. I can review it to make sure it got all the details of this task right, which it did. It says review this marital settlement agreement. It assigned it to Stephen Carter. It's got the correct due date on here. So I'm good. I don't need to change anything about this task. Clio Duo got it right. Let's hear it for Clio Duo. It did a good job here. Thanks, Clio Duo. And thank you for being a great demo for me so far, Clio Duo. So let's go back to the dashboard and show a few more capabilities for Clio Duo. We're going to go to the Emmett Patel matter. We're going to jump in here. Again, we have the task pane or the Clio Duo pane that highlights a few areas of this matter that Clio Duo thinks I should be paying attention to. Again, I've got a meeting coming up with Emmett later this afternoon, and I just want Duo to summarize my last communications with Emmett. So what I'm going to do is I've got a new session going here, so I'm just going to clear the history so we've got a fresh page happening with Clio Duo. And I'm going to ask it to, what did I discuss with Emmett last time we talked. And again, this is pretty neat. We can be completely conversational with Clio Duo. We don't need to specify whether this is a phone call or an email. We can just ask Clio Duo to bring us up to speed. So when I talk to Amit, I've got this briefing that Duo has prepared to summarize what our last interactions were, which is pretty incredible. I noticed here that Clio Duo is suggesting that it noticed that I missed a time entry when I added this evidence review meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a time entry for an hour for that review. And again, Clio Duo's taking care of the rest for me in the background. Now, I want to conclude showing one incredible set of capabilities that you're all seeing demonstrated live for the first time ever. And these are some really, really exciting new capabilities oriented around documents in Clio Duo. So let's go to the Documents tab. And what I have here is a personal injury case. And I've got a set of documents related to this personal injury case. And these documents are hundreds of pages long. I could easily spend the rest of my day pouring through these documents and making notes from them. What we have in Clio Duo today is a new capability that we describe as the document analyzer capability. And I can select a set of documents in the Clio document management system, click Analyze, and jump into this new document analyzer interface. And what you can think of document analyzer is as, again, a partner that has a photographic memory that is able to consume hundreds of pages of documents per second and understand these documents at a semantic level. And what that means is I can ask Clio Duo to do some of the things we're all used to AI being able to do at this point, like summarize these documents. And again, in a few seconds, Clio Duo will come back and give me a great summary of these documents. But more than just extracting the summary from the documents, I'm able to ask Clio Duo for more detailed information about these documents. So again, we've poured through hundreds of pages of documents, and Clio Duo has done a great job of making this a very digestible set of information for me. I can ask Clio Duo, what are the key facts in these documents? And again, it will extract the key facts that exist in these documents in a very digestible way. This idea that Clio Duo understands the documents at a semantic level is enormously powerful. This is not just summarizing, this is extracting information from the document. I mentioned this was a personal injury case. What's even more incredible is I can get more detailed in my questions. I can ask Clio Duo and the document analyzer, what are the injuries that the plaintiff is claiming? And again, this is much more than just a summary. It's gone into the documents, understood at a semantic level what is being described in these documents, and can tell me what these injuries are. And now we can start to think about how this fits into our broader workflow. I can actually ask Clio Duo to write a claim for relief. And Clio Duo and the document analyzer is going to draft a template that I'm able to copy with this icon into my clipboard and paste into my Microsoft Word document. So document analyzer is not just able to extract and analyze information from documents, but is able to present this information back to you and help you draft new documents, help you draft correspondence in a really seamless way. So I'm going to wrap up and just say thank you for a great demo, Duo. All right, everyone. So that is just the surface level of what Clio Duo can do. I really did just scratch the surface. And I think about this next wave of AI innovation in legal. as being even more meaningful than the wave of cloud adoption that we saw in legal. I couldn't be more excited about what Clio Duo is offering today. Again, we're releasing Clio Duo today. It's available as an add-on, and you can go to the AI Lounge, get this enabled on your account, get a hands-on walkthrough from our team, and importantly, give us feedback on what you'd like to see in Clio Duo next. Now, I want to wrap up the keynote and highlight a few of the areas that we're continuing to innovate on our core product. As you can imagine, we're putting a lot of energy into AI, but that doesn't mean we're turning our attention away from the core product and the vast roadmap that we see that lies ahead for continuing to make the Clio ecosystem of products better for you. And we've focused our energy over the past year and in the next year on 3 core areas. Those are around client acquisition, daily productivity, and firm intelligence. And let's start off talking about phone calls, talking about feeling overwhelmed, talking about the communication channels that we're all constantly overwhelmed with. Is anyone else having heart palpitations right now? I know this is what our day-to-day feels like, though. We feel completely overwhelmed by the flood of inputs we have, and it's something that just keeps getting more and more challenging. And I want to highlight how this overwhelm that we're experiencing in the legal industry is actually being reflected back out to our clients. And I want to highlight this through a secret shop that we did at Clio. Who remembers our secret shop from 2019? Does anyone remember this? So this is a study we did. We hired a research firm to reach out to law firms. We reached out to hundreds of law firms by both phone and via email, and basically acted like a client looking to hire them with a case that aligned perfectly with their practice area. So we should have looked like a legitimate potential client when we reached out to these law firms. What we found back in 2019 was pretty shocking. This was a bombshell at Clio Con 2019, where we saw that 60% of law firms didn't respond to emails at all, like basically didn't respond to the emails whatsoever, and 44% of law firms didn't answer the phone. And so we thought 5 years later that we would repeat this study. We thought, hey, technology has come a long way. We had a pandemic thrown in there for good measure. What's changed in the last 5 years? And do we think law firms got more responsive or less responsive in the last 5 years? So I want to see, like, who are the optimists in the room? Who thinks things got better over the last 5 years? Okay, I'm seeing like 6 hands. So the level of optimism is not huge here. But to those optimists, I am sorry to disappoint. Things got worse. This year, 67% of law firms, and I want to emphasize, this is research we conducted like 3 months ago. This is hot off the presses. 67% of law firms didn't respond to emails sent to them. 60% of law firms didn't answer phone calls, which is an increase from 44% in 2019. Overall, only 52% of firms answered or returned phone inquiries in our latest study, compared to 73% in 2019. This is pretty damning data. When we talk about the access to justice gap, this is what that friction looks like manifested. We're literally not picking up the phone. We're not answering emails. We're letting this demand stay unaddressed, which is, I think, irresponsible of us as a profession. What we found is that less than 1/3 of our mystery shoppers found it easy to gather information from the law firms they were shopping. And we also found that the sentiment that these secret shoppers were left with left them as detractors for the law firms that they couldn't reach. We are driving active disengagement into prospective clients in the prospective consumers of legal services. So the takeaway here is that we need to do a better job of answering the call. This is not metaphorical. We're literally not answering the call. When people have problems, they're picking up the phone and looking for us to support them, and we're not answering that call. And by the way, this doesn't mean that we need to address the needs of every single client that phones us. We can refer out to another firm. We have incredible platforms like Attorney Share that help make referring out business something that is a lot easier to track and a lot easier to do. But this is something that, despite the fact that we're an industry that is obsessed with plastering our phone number over every billboard on the interstate, we're not answering the call, and we're literally lighting money on fire. Our Legal Trends Report research this year also, for the first time, analyzes law firm marketing spend and analyzes where lawyers are spending their money through a wallet share analysis. This is a super interesting analysis that I don't have time to go into in this keynote, but Joshua Lennon will be going into detail later this afternoon. But what we found is that 5% of law firms' spending goes to marketing. And the rate of that spending is increasing 8% year over year. This translates to about $20 billion being spent annually on marketing in the legal world. And again, we're doing a really horrible job of capturing that demand. We are literally lighting money on fire. And we have a vision for how a better, seamless intake world works at Clio. We think of a frictionless experience for new clients, and I want to highlight what a more ideal workflow would look like. We're hopefully not getting clients to phone us, we're not getting them to email us, but we're actually answering that call. When I talked about the fact that most legal demand is starting with a Google search, we need to think about how do we redesign every aspect of our law firm model to answer that demand where it's occurring, and that is with a Google search. We imagine a world, and we see this world realized on a daily basis, where our clients are able to tap into Google local services ad directly through the integration in Clio Grow. They're able to create a website that allows them to easily capture their leads from an intake form. We're able to onboard this client completely electronically. We're able to schedule an initial intake call through our built-in scheduler. We're able to use our Clio Grow's automation capabilities to automate many steps of the intake process. And we're able to create a world where intake is happening for you automatically in the background. We understand it's not about the quantity of leads, it's about the relevancy of those leads that you're getting in. And we're excited to release in Clio Grow some new capabilities that really help you understand which of your marketing channels are most impactful. At Clio Con, we're releasing a new series of revenue reports that allow you to better understand where your clients are coming from. For the first time, you'll get a full view of what drives clients to your firm through these revenue reports. And when I talk about the end-to-end integrated ecosystem at Clio, when I talk about the value of a unified platform, what this means is that we can look and tie the billing data you have in Clio and bring that billing data all the way back to Clio Grow and help you understand what your highest ROI customer acquisition channels are. Not just where the most leads are coming from, but which leads are translating into the most revenue for you. Let's next talk about some of the ways we're helping enhance daily productivity in your firm. We've been working hard to help you tackle the friction points and improve the workflows that exist in your firm. And a huge number of those workflows relate to gathering data from your clients. And we're really excited to be introducing to you questionnaires in Clio Draft that will be launching early next year. This is a really meaningful feature that is going to unlock some really exciting capabilities for you. And I'm going to walk through what questionnaires looks like. Imagine a client has completed a consultation for you and just signed their retainer agreement. Now you need to understand what's going on with their case. You need to understand their personal history. You need to complete all the documents that relate to their case. With Clio Draft questionnaires, you'll be able to share a secure questionnaire, a branded questionnaire with your client, and they'll be able to complete it at their own pace from the comfort of their home or their office. What they answer for you in these questionnaires will then flow seamlessly into the documents you're auto-generating with Clio Draft. And this is a really exciting way of completely automating the document creation process and streamlining what can typically be a very labor-intensive back and forth with your clients. Questionnaires automatically saves their progress, so if they quit their browser and come back to the questionnaire later, they don't need to worry about losing their progress. And most importantly, they can rest assured that their data is safe and secure because all of this questionnaire activity is happening in Clio's secure portal. You can also review the responses. You can correct any errors your client may have made in completing this questionnaire. And again, you can see that the answers from this questionnaire will effortlessly flow through to your document automation workflows in Clio with just the click of a button. These templates can be reused for different use cases, and this significantly improves the process and workflows associated with documents. Yeah, let's hear it for Clio questionnaires. That's pretty cool and something I think will dramatically change how you gather information from clients. Now, speaking of working with clients, something we've heard a lot of feedback from you is wanting a redesign and reimagining of our communications interface. And I'm really excited to announce a completely ground-up redesign of our communications interface. This is coming later this year, and this is based on interviews and conversations we've had with hundreds of you around what you would like to see in a reimagined Clio communications interface. We'll make it easier for you to communicate with your clients, whether it's by email, phone, or text. Another area we're helping improve your daily workflows is with automated workflows for Clio Manage. We're taking some of the incredible work that we implemented in Clio Grow that helped accelerate and automate your workflows, that helped make your client intake 4 days faster, and we're bringing that to Clio Manage. This will enable you to free up your time by automatically assigning matter templates, triggering task lists, and generating documents as cases progress. You'll soon be able to choose from pre-built automation templates for common scenarios or customize them to create workflows that are tailored to meet your specific needs. Let's show specifically how you can use Clio Manage's new automated workflows to make life a little bit easier for your firm. First, you can set up automations in Clio Manage to instantly apply the right matter template for each practice area. When you set up the case and it moves from Clio Grow to Clio Manage, Clio will automatically apply the right template. Or let's say you move the matter from temporary order to discovery, the system will automatically assign a tailored task list to that matter to help you organize the discovery process. Everything you need from the formatting for the matter, the templates, the relevant data is automated with zero incremental effort. This is a great example of how you can eliminate friction in your firm. And let's close out by looking at some really cool new capabilities in firm intelligence. A quote we talk a lot about at Clio is Peter Drucker's quote, "What gets measured gets managed." And what is interesting is that what needs to be measured and managed looks different at every firm. And we've enabled you to create now a custom set of reports in Clio based on your specific needs with custom reports in Clio Manage. We're launching this feature early next year, and this will make it possible for you to create custom reports in an easy-to-use interface where you can use live data in Clio. You can handpick the specific columns and types of data you want to include in your report. You can, and then use that data, get a live preview of that data, and help leverage that data to identify key insights and patterns that might be affecting your law firm performance. We realize that customized and tailored access to your data is something that is crucial to every law firm, and custom reports is going to unlock a really exciting new ability for you to introspect on your data and take action on that data. Yeah, thank you. People are going to love the new custom reporting feature. I know it's been something we've been looking forward to deliver to you for years. When we look at these three areas we're investing in, client acquisition, daily productivity, and firm intelligence, we feel like we're unlocking a new era of innovation in Clio and equipping you with the most powerful tools you've ever had to continue to improve your flywheel and to build momentum in your firm. So as we close out the opening keynote today, I want to take a moment to just highlight a few takeaways. One is that we here at Clio and here at Clio Con are here to help you build momentum in your practice. We want to help you transform the legal industry alongside us and support you in helping create better outcomes for your clients and to help you scale your reach and help scale your impact. We want to help you find ways to put energy into your flywheel and to eliminate friction in your flywheel at every step along the way. I think the mindset we need to take heading into the next 2 days is how do we drive incremental but relentless improvement in how we run our firms to better address the needs of the clients for which we're not even picking up the phone today. And lastly, I want you to remember that AI is a force multiplier for your firm. When we talk about the flywheel and the opportunity for technology to drive your flywheel and to amplify your impact, there is nothing that is more powerful than AI in terms of being a force multiplier on that flywheel. It's a huge driver of your momentum. It's something that can reduce a huge amount of friction in your firm and, again, enable you to focus on the highest and best use of your time. So with that in mind, we invite you to explore the product lab, to attend workshops and sessions to improve your skills, and most importantly, to connect with each other. I heard a great quote from Bill Taylor last night. It was Dennis Kennedy quoting it in his acceptance of a Lifetime Achievement Award at the American Legal Tech Awards. But the quote from Bill Taylor was, we all need to be asking ourselves the question, if we're learning as fast as the world is changing. And I don't think we've ever experienced a world that is changing as fast as the world is changing right now. And what we're here to do at Clio Con over the next 2 days is to learn from each other and to teach each other and help each other navigate this unprecedented rate of change and help each other manage through that. Thank you, everyone, for opening up Clio Con with me. Enjoy the next 2 days, and we look forward to building momentum with you. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.